Hello there, and today I will be talking about what DC has to do to kind of get out of the rut it's in because so far their movies have no continuity and everything's kind of like all over the place and there's no one really in charge over there at DC, and that's a very big problem, especially when you have so many different so many different stories to tell with all these superheroes, and it's just like they can do so much with this, but they're just kind of like throwing out movies here and there, and there's no continuity anywhere, or there's hardly any continuity, and there's like some pretty bad ideas. Ben Affleck as Batman. I mean, he's a great director. You're having him act like, just why? So, I'm going to give my opinion on what I think they should do in order to, basically, I don't want to, I hate saying this, but yeah, basically copy Marvel because so far they're doing good, but maybe they can have a stronger connection to the comic books than Marvel has. So, get right to it. So, as most of you know, DC has a lot of good shows, as you can see from the picture. They have Gotham, The Flash, Arrow, and Constantine. And there's also talk about a Teen Titans show, and then there's already trailers out for a new show that it's also going to be on the CW, called iZombie. So yeah, they got a lot of good shows going for it so far. But for DC to, you know, get like a shared universe, which is probably its best move right now, because that's what Marvel's doing, and it's working out pretty good for them. Like all their movies have great continuity and all that. In order for DC to get that kind of continuity, that shared universe, unfortunately, all these great shows and all these great shows in the making would have to go away, because in order to get that shared universe, not only would the shows have to go away, but so would some of its movies, in order for them to start off with a good, clean slate, which is basically reboot everything like they did in the comic book universe. Because after they did that, I feel as though they've been doing a lot better. It allowed for current comic book readers to start fresh, newer people, because I found out about the New 52 about a year after it happened, and I was so disappointed. But I started picking up comics anyway, because it was still only a year. It's not like I was 50 years behind, and, that really was able to reach out to more, newer comic book readers and inspiring other people to also become comic book readers. And that really helped them there, and I feel like having a reboot in the cinematic universe would also be a great step forward. As for cleaning the slate, definitely take your time with ending the shows, because if you rush it, it shows your audience that you don't care. And if they feel like you don't care, you lose your only audience. And once you lose the audience, you're screwed. Because that's obviously where you're getting your money from the audience. So you have to definitely take your time with ending the shows. For Gotham, you can show Bruce, and finding the Batcave and stuff, but take your time with it. For the Flash, you can show him and a showdown with the Reverse Flash, but take your time. Arrow, show this big giant showdown between him and his team against the League of Assassins, but take your time. Constantine, show that showdown between him and La Brujeria, but take your time. That cannot be stressed enough. You have to take your time. And obviously this would take a while, maybe a year at most, in order to end the shows and cancel what you have currently in production. But it would be worth it, because your audience would respect you for ending the shows in a decent manner. Now, once you've got your fresh start, once you've cleaned the slate, ended all your TV shows, stopped production on all your movies, and scrapped those ideas, now you have a fresh start, and you can start making new movies. Now, you start small. You start with one movie and you focus all your energy into that, because that one movie is your first thing from this reboot, so it has to be good. It has to be one of the best movies you will ever make in this reboot. And now I know many people are going to disagree with me. It's like, no, it should be a Batman movie or something. No. It's going to be someone from the Justice League, the original 7. And my opinion on who it should be, I feel as though, and it's going to be pre-52 Justice League, which means Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, Green Lantern, Martian Manhunter, and Aquaman. It's going to be those 7. And the first movie you should make should be Martian Manhunter. Now, I feel as though he should be the first one for his movie to get made before anyone else, because he's original. He has a pretty good origin story that you could dive right into, and not too many people know about him, which means this sets a standard. This sets him up as a superhero, and because not too many people know about him, you don't get preconceived notions. Because if you make a Batman movie, people are going to be like comparing that Batman movie to The Dark Knight. Or if you get a Superman movie, people are going to be comparing that Superman movie to Man of Steel. And, you know, Wonder Woman hasn't even had her own movie, and I feel as though maybe she should be next after Martian Manhunter. I'm not sure. Aquaman cannot be the first one because nobody will take you seriously. The Flash already has the show, so a couple people are going to be comparing maybe the movie to the show and be like, well, I don't know, I like the show better. And then who else is left? Yeah, that's it. Oh, and then Green Lantern, they're going to be comparing it to the other movie. Your best bet here is Martian Manhunter. Now, if you were to go with Martian Manhunter first, it would have to be an origin story, and you could start it with him and, like, his family on Mars, and then have it be like him against the disease that his brother has spread, and then end the movie with him landing on Earth. And you could really, like, it would be a great movie because you can show, like, how he lost his family, you know, and then you can also, it would be obviously, like, you'd have to get actors who can really show their emotions. Like, Martian Manhunter would obviously have to feel a lot of sadness, and you have to, like, be able to see the sadness in his eyes. And then in addition to that, his brother has to be hatred. Throughout the whole movie, or most of the movie, it should show his brother and his hatefulness on how he hates, like, everybody in Mars because of how, like, they can do this and he can't. And it just, you have to be able to show the hatefulness, and you have to be able to show the sadness in both those characters in order to really make it a good movie. And then you can end it off with Martian Manhunter landing on Earth. Okay, so now that you've got your Martian Manhunter movie, now that that one was made, and, you know, it's in the movie theaters, a lot of people are liking it, then you make a Wonder Woman movie. Now, this Wonder Woman movie should be next because, for the same reasons that Martian Manhunter was first, because more people know Wonder Woman, which is why The Martian should go first. But then, even though people know Wonder Woman, they don't know her origin story, they don't know how she got here, why she's here. So that's another untapped topic you guys could really get into, and it would be a very, very great movie if you do it right. And the main setting should definitely be Themyscira, and then you can make it an origin story so that you can really show, like, where she came from. Because not too many people know her origin story. Like, I personally don't even know much of her origin story. So yeah, and it should not be Ares, because I feel as though Ares is a pretty big villain, and he should be saved for maybe a Wonder Woman 2, if you get that far. But you can make, like, the main antagonist in this one, I suppose, like, Cheetah and stuff, you know? So, Wonder Woman should definitely be next after Martian Manhunter. Okay, so now that you've got your Wonder Woman movie, you've got your Martian Manhunter movie, then you can start expanding to other movies. And this is where I'm going to kind of, like, be more general, because, like, I helped you out in the beginning. Try to figure things out on your own just a bit. You know, maybe make the next one The Flash, because, not to say the show was bad, but he is such a main character that he deserves to have his own interpretation in the movies. And that one, you could make it an origin story or you could not. Either way, do not make the antagonist, what's it called? Do not make it Reverse Flash, because again, I feel like that could be saved for, say, a Flash 2. In addition to that, after that, you can make an Aquaman movie. Now, it has to be a really, really good movie, because nobody takes Aquaman seriously, because they're all like, oh, all he can do is talk to fish. So this one, it should definitely be an origin story, and he has to look badass no matter what he's doing. And it can be very similar to, like, say, Throne of Atlantis, but at the same time, don't make it the exact same thing. Like, try to differentiate and try to make things a little more, like, violent and dark, because, like, Marvel is more, like, comedic regardless of what they're doing. Like, in the Avengers, it was like, oh, the world's ending, ha ha ha. Like, seriously, Tony Stark was making jokes about the whole thing. And at the same time, Dark Knight was coming out, and that was obviously, like, a much darker side of superheroes. So that's what DC has. It has that dark element. So all of these movies can have that, like, dark element of, like, it's not all fun and games even when you have superpowers. And because of that, a lot of people can also relate to that. So like I said, Flash, then Aquaman, and be very careful with the Aquaman. Okay, now you make a Green Lantern movie. Okay. P.S. Try not to fuck it up this time. The movie should probably start with Hal Jordan as a child and him, like, seeing his dad die in the plane crash, and then later, and then, like, right after that, show him still, even though, like, his dad died and he was so afraid of, like, all this that happened, he still went on to pursue a life in, well, flying planes. And that can definitely show, like, why later the Ring chooses him. It's because he overcame his fear, and he was still working for the same company that led to his father's death. And show a little bit of, like, a romance maybe between him and Carol, before he ends up going to Oa. And then after, like, you know, you've established what he's doing now and all that, then you can have the ship crash, Abin Sur. He goes and sees it. He gets the ring. Then after that happens, what you do is you send him to Oa, and I feel as though the rest of the movie should take place there, and it focuses mainly on his training. Now, obviously, this isn't going to be like an action-packed movie, because it's going to be a Hal Jordan one, and Hal Jordan, since this is going to be an origin movie, doesn't have, like, too much of a conflict in the origin. The main conflict is he goes, he trains, and he sees, like, Sinestro and Kilowog training him, and then he also sees that Sinestro is doing these bad things. He tells the Guardians, and also, obviously, introduce the Guardians. And, yeah, and then show his battle between him and Sinestro and how he wins, and that could be, like, the main thing. Obviously, it's not going to be as good, but then it could set up for, like I said, with, like, Flash and Wonder Woman, a Green Lantern 2, in which he would, like, maybe come back and fight Sinestro. Now, I'm not going to go into detail on that, because I might want to save that for another video. But yeah, that should be the movie for Green Lantern Hal Jordan. For the most part, I feel as though would probably be the best for Green Lantern, since you fucked up so bad on the other one. So yeah, now you've taken out all the rest of the leaguers. You know, they all got their movies. Now you can move on to your one of your heaviest hitters, Superman. Right now, his movie, it doesn't have to be an origin story, because even though it doesn't keep the continuity of Man of Steel, people are still going to remember that, and people are still going to remember his origin. And as for the antagonist, I'm not sure who it should be. I don't think it should be Lex Luthor, because, again, I feel like this can be saved for a Superman 2. So I'm not sure about the antagonist, and if you are to put in kryptonite, you know, at least put in some science behind why it affects him the way he does, because, like, Aquaman, his thing is like, oh, all he can do is talk to fish, which is why in the movie you have to show him that he's more than that. He's more than just talking to fish. You have to show off his strength, his valor, his courage. And same with Superman. His biggest criticism is, oh, he's afraid of green rocks. You have to show why that's his weakness, and you have to show him overcoming this in some form or way. But not too far to the point where it's like, oh, so he's not immune to kryptonite anymore? No, but you have to still like show how he tries to power through it, and you also have to show why that's his weakness, you know? In fact, you could even make it a magical antagonist because that's Superman's other weakness that hardly anybody knows about. So yeah, and I don't feel as though Batman should get his own movie because like, and everyone's gonna be like, wait, what? No Batman movie? Because everybody knows Batman, he's a well-established hero. I feel as though in Superman, it just shows Batman at the end, like end credits, or right after, maybe, it shows Batman on his back computer observing Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman, observing them, like what happened in their movies, like observing Aquaman going to the surface, observing Martian Manhunter landing here on Earth, observing, you know, Superman and the fight who he had whoever with, observing Wonder Woman coming into here, and then observing, you know, the spaceship crash, you know, just observing. So that way, you can jump right into your Justice League movie and have that be like when, because I'm not really sure what happens, because if you're gonna make Justice League movie, you have to show them come together, and do not take any of the stories you're using from the new 52, because I feel as though that can be, that like idea of this reboot can be saved for way, way later. So everything you do in these movies should definitely not be for the new 52. It should be pre-52, you know, show how the Leaguers came together before the new 52, and have that instead of like, you know, the Justice League War, because that one's obviously 52. And I'm pretty sure Throne of Atlantis is also 52, so maybe try and come up with a different story for Aquaman. But yeah, make this all pre-52, show the Leaguers coming together, and in the Justice League, that's when you get to reintroduce Batman as a badass who's so badass, he doesn't even need his own movie. He don't need no introduction because everybody knows him. That's how awesome he is. And then after you make your Justice League movie, you basically introduce the world that, like, you're not backing down from Marvel and their movies because so far they are kicking your ass. And just, yeah, and then maybe later I'll make a follow-up video to what they should do afterwards. But for now, that is it. Those are all my opinions on what DC should do so far. And then, oh, and as this is happening, no TV shows. Not yet. So, yeah, that's it for now. And thanks for watching, and bye.